We have with us today Turku Avci. She is a young woman who was raised in the country of Turkey in a Muslim secular family and then came to Israel in 2021 to study at Hebrew University, where she remains today. I'm Maayan Hoffman, ILTV Executive Editor, and I welcome you back to the ILTV News Podcast. And welcome to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Now, I want to get started by just having you tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you arrive in Israel? What brought you here?
I came on 2021, and actually I was looking for universities in abroad to study. That time I was studying in Istanbul University, and I was actually looking for masters. But I was like my last year in Istanbul University, and then that time there was a conflict going on in Israel, in Jerusalem actually, and it was all over the television, and I was just watching it, and I was like, I want to see the story from Israel side. And then I just Googled it. I was like, Israeli newspapers, like what they say about how they defend themselves, because reasonable person can think that these people cannot be that bad, it cannot be that evil. So there need to be some explanation. So from there, what I read was like quite convincible. Like I was like, actually there is not a one-side story, two-side story, and I want to get into that. And then I saw, I don't remember his name, but one Hebrew University professor's article, and then from there I searched for Hebrew University, and I was like, oh my God, it's a great university, I have to go there. And then we had Israeli friends that time, and I went to them and I was like, I want to study in Israel, but my family, they're not financially that strong to send me to Israel. And they were like, if you want to study in Israel as a non-Jewish Turkish girl, we're going to help you with everything. And like, there are lots of families actually like who helped me since I came here. And yeah, this is how I came here, and I'm so happy like with my choice.
Wow, it's a really incredible. I mean, what would lead a Muslim woman, even though I know you were, as you said, you grew up in a more secular family, but to make that leap of faith to come to another country? It's one thing to read about it in a newspaper. It's another thing to come and study and live here, especially during a conflict.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and also the COVID-19
right, the
was going on.
Yeah.
Yes. And because also I saw how Turkey is radicalized more and more day and day, and I grew up in a family really activist, really involved to politics, and I wanted to do something about it. And Israel was the perfect place to do it, perfect place to understand Middle East, and you can get the best education here. Like if I would choose some other country in Europe, what would it give me? Like some regular education that other students can get. But in Israel, like every day, day by day, your perspective changes. Like you see the stories from all the sides, and you're like feeling the same things that Israelis feel. And yeah, it was quite challenging. Also, my family got so many comments about it. They're like, she's going to a Jewish country and she's not going to be accepted, and they're not going to love her. She's not going to find a friend, and she's not Jewish. But I was like, I accepted the challenge. I was like, I want to do it. And it was a brave decision.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I've been to Turkey as a tourist, certainly before the October 7th massacre and the recent war. In fact, I was in Turkey 2 days before the war started, and I had returned on October 5th of 2023, and then the war started. Now we've, of course, cut off. But I'd love to hear your perspective. I mean, you just said something interesting. The country was becoming more and more radicalized. You're not very old. I think you said, you sent me, I asked you for a bio. You were born in 1998. Do I have that right?
I'm 26.
Yeah, you're 26. You're young, but I mean, walk me through the, sort of what you feel the country is like today. Has Turkey changed?
Wow, it changed a lot. When you ask, I think about when I was in primary school. It was quite different. It was now, even like belly dancers in television, they have to cover themselves, and which is like so weird for me. Even like televisions, we don't have like programs to criticize government. And when I was in primary school and high school, it was such a common thing. And like we had other Islamist leaders before Erdoğan. Even in their period, we had those programs, but
because Turkey was like a secular country.
yeah, exactly. Also, the education we get, it was like secular. Also, constitution, it's still secular. Like in constitution, we are still a secular country, and but right now it changed a lot. Like I cannot believe the things I'm seeing, and like even like New Year, it was a big thing in Turkey. We were doing celebrations, and even 1st of January is a holiday in Turkey. It's a formal holiday, and this year they didn't do anything. We didn't even see TV programs, like, and it just becomes like radicalized every time. And when I was a kid, the separation of power, it was quite strong. Now Erdoğan collect all the power himself, but that time I remember they were quite. He was quite fighting with the Supreme Court or with the other powers, and now he has all the power. He does what he wants, and yeah.
Can you compare a little bit the cultures of Israel and Turkey? You know, what's here versus there from your past and present? You know?
Yeah, I think it's quite similar. I feel like a home here. Like, I went to Jordan, and it was. I think Jordan was different for me. Like,
wow, that's crazy.
Yes, I was like, this is not my culture. But Israeli people, so similar with Turkish people, they're really welcoming, and like they just host you, and you can even like meet with someone in Shuk, and she can just invite you to Shabbat dinner.
Right.
And it's also the intense in politics. It's quite similar with secularism and like national identity, religious identity. This kind of conflicts are also something we are seeing in Turkey, something I'm familiar with. What can I say? It's different, of course, the religion and beliefs, and but also I think the democratic perspective here, it's different from Turkey, because since I came to here, all I see is strikes and protests,
like
and and my friends are like, "Oh my God, again!" And I was like, "No, this is good. This is good. I'm so happy that you can do it," because like my teachers are striking, and they don't have fear to lose their jobs, which is like amazing thing for me. You know?
I guess when you look at it that way, it makes it a little bit easier. But as someone who has to drive through those protests, I'm not always so happy with them. I have to be honest. Now, you know, Israel and Turkey used to have, off and on at least, very good relations, and even under Erdoğan. I mean, the truth is there were many high periods of our relations. Certainly since October 7th, that's gone really downhill to the point that we've cut off trade and really any communication. And the recent comments that Erdoğan has made, of course, are really above and beyond, you know, in terms of the annihilation of the Jewish states and all of this. What do you think it is that shifted Erdoğan? Why did we go from really even the year before him begging to increase trade to him completely cutting off with the state of Israel?
Okay, I think no one is talking about it. I don't know why no one is talking about, but we also have to count Qatar's role here, because Qatar has really big investments in Turkey. Last 10 years, they made over $15 billion investments in Turkey. You can ask anyone in Turkey, random city, random guy, what do you think about Qatar? They would tell you, oh, Erdoğan sold Turkey to Qatar. They have countless of properties. They have from banks to TV channels in Turkey, everything owned by them. And how did it happen? Years ago, in Trump's first administration, Trump and Erdoğan had some conflict between them. And that time, Trump said, "I'm gonna make your economy collapse," and he did. And where did he find the investment? From Qatar that time. They couldn't save the economy, but they helped a lot, Erdoğan. So. Of course, there's also using Palestinian cause as a propaganda tool, but also economic interest from Qatar. And all this, like right now, Erdoğan cannot get investment from Europe or America. Canada just warned their citizens to not go to Turkey. And you know why? Not because of terrorism or like something else, just because you can get arrested without cause, without reason. Gosh. So do you think Turkey can get investment from Europe or America? We need Qatar. in this case, Erdoğan has loss of motivation from economic investment, and he needs a propaganda to use because.
And, historically, as you mentioned, Turkey was really a very secular state, and then the rise of Erdogan and his party has sort of brought all these changes about, and now this is very interesting what you're explaining with Qatar, I think adds yet another level. I mean, talk about what it was like for you and for your family. I mean, again, you were, I know, a little bit younger, but certainly your parents, have gone through this, the different iterations, and it has to have changed their lives completely.
Yes, thankfully, we are living in a secular small city, so we didn't affect as much as big cities affect. We continued our lives, but like my parents, they were loud about their opinions. And I remember, before my father, we had a small boat, and he was putting banners to criticize government or authors that he doesn't like. And now he's too afraid to do that. And also I have brother, and now he's not just my brother, but all the young people, they cannot dream, and it's the worst thing that can happen to a country. All of their dreams to be able to go another country and build a life. They cannot dream a beautiful life in Turkey. So
how do you fit into this? Because, I mean, you're here. Does Turkey know you're here?
Yeah, sure.
And can you go back? I mean, when you go to visit?
The last time I visited, it was on June, and right now there are no flights, as you know, and I need to fly to Azerbaijan or Georgia. And also, if I want to fly from European countries, I need visa because I carry a Turkish passport. But right now, my father called me, and he was like, for a long time after you start saying your opinions out loud, I'm afraid that there's going to be something. So,
right.
Yeah, can you just stay there and not to come?
Wow, so your parents are even encouraging you not to visit because they're concerned.
Yes, yeah, they're concerned because we don't know. It can, right now they're arresting everyone without a cause.
So they think you could land and get arrested at the airport or something. Who
Yes,
knows?
yes, right now I didn't get something officially, but this is the problem, this is the exact problem. I don't know if my opinions are gonna cause my life.
Well, you're extremely brave to even come on my show and to be able to talk to me today, and this is going to go out to a lot of people, and it's really it's impressive that you have the courage to do it.
Lots of people are saying that, but do you think I would be safer if I would stay in Turkey in my home not doing anything? No, I wouldn't be safer at all. I would still be afraid to go out as a woman at night, or I would be afraid of future wife to raise my kids, and I would just be in fear. I wouldn't be in jail maybe, but I would still have the same fear. It wouldn't be safer for me.
Wow. Do most Turkish citizens feel like you? I mean, for example, the government in Turkey has hosted Hamas. They've played them up. They're kind of, they're very supportive of Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. Do the ordinary people pay attention to that? Do they care? Do they want it changed?
Ordinary people actually don't care. They don't even pro-Palestinians in Turkey right now. They want to talk about the economy. They want to talk about their lives, their freedom of speech. We don't have time for it. All the comments I get from Instagram or from my friends, they're like, I'm telling even pro-Palestinians, okay, we're supporting them, but we just don't wanna. We wanna see Turkey in the news, and also Erdogan also hosted the Taliban leaders, not just
so
Hamas
lots of
leaders.
terrorists. There's no differentiation between the level of terrorists.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness! Now, with all of that, I mean, then do you see these protests happening in the streets, and they're demanding democracy. They're opposing what's been going on with the government. They're opposing. Really all the policies of Erdogan. And I know an election is coming up. So let's first start with, who are these protesters? Do you think they're effective? And then I want to talk about the election.
Oh, okay. Okay, the protesters, actually, I can say everyone. Everyone in Turkey, when you see the protest, you don't see party flags, ideological flags. You only see Turkish flags. I see the far left to far right. Everyone is on the street, and this is the first for a long time This is the first time I'm seeing Turkey so united. Turkey was so polarized.
Polarized,
Yes,
yeah.
with everything. And now, okay, İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul who got arrested, he was a great leader and he was loved by every part of Turkey, every ideology, and it was a big rival for Erdoğan. And when you arrested him, it means you just declare your dictatorship. So something Turkish people cannot accept is when you touch their democracy. So also like every section of Turkey like is just want change. So the people who are in the streets, they are the people who wants change.
And how many people are really in the streets?
2 days ago, there were big protests, and I think there were like 2.2 million people outside.
And how many citizens of Turkey?
I'm just talking about in Istanbul.
This is just Istanbul, 2.2 million.
Yes, in Istanbul, I think 50 million people lives there. But also, we are talking it's now holiday,
Right.
Ramadan, and still, and in Turkey, 80 million population.
Wow.
Yes, quite a lot.
So you're seeing quite a number of those show up.
Yes.
That's a huge percentage. So that brings me to the election. When is the election supposed to take place?
I think 3 years.
It's still 3 years from now.
Yeah.
But we're gearing up now because because they're all saying we want to make sure that Erdogan doesn't get back in, but it's kind of a long time. So are we trying to overthrow him, or are we going to kind of get through the election?
Actually, if we could talk about normal democracy, Turkey needs to go to an early election with this economy, and like 60%, 70% of people we are talking about that wants change in Turkey. So in normal democracy, we can talk about early elections. Also, now showing İmamoğlu as a candidate, one of the reasons because we wanted to start. Because we knew Erdogan was going to do something to İmamoğlu. So showing him as candidate made him official, and like as you can see, made more echo in worldwide. And so there are 3 years, but we don't know what's going to happen.
Wow. So, I mean, is there hope for political change then in Turkey? Do you feel like that it will be accomplished, that these people will manage?
I asked this question to my father yesterday because I was like, if I will get hope and get disappointed, I don't know what to feel right now. And my father said, Turkey, we don't have any other chance to have hope. It's gonna change, and I just don't have any other chance. I cannot think the other side of the story, and it's gonna change, and we're gonna take our democracy back.
So we're going to run out of time, and I want to be able to just ask you 2 more questions. I mean, the first one is just in terms of what is it that you wish that more people understood about Turkey? If there was something that you feel when you're reading the news that people are just not getting.
Okay. We are not Iran or we are not Russia because we raised differently. I raised differently. My parents raised differently. We raised with a secular education that taught us democracy and republic and like Atatürk's principles, which was giving us so strong. And this is why when they touch to our democracy, people just go crazy. It's something untouchable. And this is why we are different from Iran and Iranian people, because they didn't really raise with democratic culture. But when I was in school, we had daily oath before we go to class that we say we're going to protect republic and democracy. This is how they impose to us. So we raise differently, and we are a different nation. We're going to protect the democracy.
Amazing. Last comment. Just give me something to inspire our viewers. What do you want to say as an ending remark?
I want to say, I just want to thank everyone who hosted me and like who opened their home to me. And right now, I'm having a quite struggle with my health, and the Jewish family opened their home to me because they didn't want me to be alone in the dorms, and I just want to thank to them like a lot for like a month I'm staying with them. My friend Gad's mother, Rebecca, and her husband Nate and their daughter Aviva, Shirel, and Odelia, they opened their home to me. They did my hair. They choose my outfit today. So I just want to like thank to them. I'm sorry, I wanted to say something political, but they did a lot for me. And like, you know, I told you, people told me that Jewish people not going to accept you, but
they did.
Yes, they did.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I am so glad that I had the opportunity to meet you.
Thank you.
You know, we met the other day at an anti-Semitism conference, and you're just seeming to do amazing thing here in Israel. So definitely, Turku, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity and giving me a voice. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.